Hey everyone, today we're checking out the Sennheiser Momentum 3 True Wireless Earbuds. I've been keen to check these buds out since the Momentum 2s because if you follow my channel, you know I really like those earbuds. So today I'll be comparing the two buds and comparing them to the best True Wireless earbuds out there right now. And I will start by saying these have some really nice improvements, but they got a couple of issues as well. So we're gonna run through it all today. As usual here, we're going in depth. Let's get into another big ear review. All right, let's quickly start with the design. Senny seems to be following on with their CX line of buds, but with a little bit more elegance this time around, which you kind of expect for a bud at this price. Now, this design isn't gonna win any awards, but the ergonomics have improved quite a bit compared to the Momentum 2s, so the comfort and security is much better. Now, you aren't gonna be getting comfort on the level of the AirPods Pro, for example, but for my use, over 3 hours of continuous use, had no issues with discomfort at all. The fit isn't as deep as the Momentum 2, so it feels like there's just less in your ear canal. And with the wingtips, combined with the more compact size, the security is an even more noticeable improvement. Because this time around, you're getting two sizes of wingtips. I have pretty large ears, so I use the largest, but if you have small ears, you also have an option of a tip without a wing on it. So even if you use the one without the tip, you still get extra security with the grip of the material. And in my weight training test, these buds did not budge no matter what kind of exercise I was doing. So deadlifting, rowing, lying down for bench press, grinding through those hard sets, making some weird faces. There's no way the buds will fall out, and I barely lose any of the seal as well. The buds stay in really well. They actually stay in the best of any bud I've tested. My go-to training buds were the Jabra Elite 75T and JBL Live Pro Plus, but the Momentum 3 here has now dethroned those two buds. They're my number one training bud. The only issue I noticed with the fit was when walking slightly, but more running, the buds do move up and down slightly in the ear canal, making a little bit of noise. Keep in mind, this will happen with any True Wireless earbud. And as usual, this is my experience with the fit. Fit is different for everyone. I tested these buds on my girlfriend. She has really small ear canals and ears. So we used the extra small ear tips. They didn't stay in her ears as well as it did for me. So just keep that in mind. But if you like using your earbuds when training, these have an IPX4 water resistant rating. So fine for sweat and splashes of water. Used in the rain, you just can't submerge the buds in water. Now let's talk about battery life. I got some pretty wacky results in my test. Now the advertised amounts you are getting is 7 hours from the earbuds with 3 additional charges from the case, bringing that total up to 28 hours. And I couldn't find anywhere if that was with noise cancelling on or off. But anyway, in my testing on an iPhone XS at 70% volume, with noise cancelling on, I got 8 hours and 9 minutes, which is quite ridiculous. I thought there was an issue, so I actually ran this test 3 times. And on the 3rd time I ran the test, I thought it was because I had no noise on and the noise cancelling wasn't doing anything. So I had some simulation plain noise playing through the whole test. I got the exact same result. So I don't know what's going on there, but that's good. It's a good thing. Now, 2 features you're getting here that weren't on the Momentum 2 is fast charge. So chuck your buds in the case for 10 minutes, you get 1 hour of playback, and the case is also now compatible with wireless charging. Now, a pretty massive issue with the Momentum 2s was their super duper chunky case. It has been shrunk down a bit, but only really in the width. It's still the same kind of chunk, so definitely not the most compact case, but it is nice to see it's been shrunk down a little bit. But compared to other cases out there like the Sony WF-1000XM4s or the AirPods Pro, you get similar total battery life and they're like almost half the size. So just keeping that in mind. What has been improved here, or kind of downgraded, should I say, is the magnet strength. So the Momentum 2s had the strongest magnets to the point where sometimes the buds will just slip out and I wouldn't be able to pull the buds out. So the magnets here on the Momentum 3 aren't as strong, but they're definitely strong enough. The buds stay in really well, which actually makes it a lot easier to take the buds in and out of the case. It's no like sword in the stone kind of situation going on. And the last minor improvement is the LED indicator being on the front of the case now. So when you open your case up and take the buds out, you can see if your case is running low on battery, where on the Momentum 2s, it was on the back. And I would always just forget to look at it and then my case would just die. So a nice little upgrade, but the USB-C is on the front now is a little bit strange, but anyway, let's move on to controls now. As usual for Sennheiser, you're getting complete customization of each individual touch control function in the app, which I love to see. So you can have volume control, ambient controls, everything that you need right in your ears. In-ear detection also returns. So if you take one bud out or both, music will pause, chuck them back in, music will resume. I did run into a small issue with the left earbud. Sometimes the in-ear detection wouldn't respond, and to fix it, I just wiped the sensor and then it'll start working again fine. So I'm not sure if it's a software or a hardware thing, but I had no issues on the Momentum 2 with that. And one small con I noticed was when you have noise cancelling on and you take one earbud out, the noise cancelling will still stay on in the earbud that's in your ear, which sounds a little bit weird. I like it when my earbuds normally just turn the noise cancelling off in that ear or turn on transparency mode. But now onto connectivity, you got Bluetooth 5.2 here, SBC, AAC, aptX, and aptX adaptive. Now, multi-point connection is sadly not here, at least at this current moment. I reached out to Sennheiser and they said they've got an update coming in the future, but there's no specific date, but it's not here now. So that's a bit of a letdown. But another improvement over the Momentum 2 is you can use one earbud individually now while the other rests in the case, and that'll also work in mono mode. So if you have one earbud in your ear, you're gonna hear both the left and right audio channels coming out of the one earbud. And a sneaky feature with in-ear detection, if you have both earbuds in, take one out, chuck it on your desk, for example, the earbud that's still in your ear will also work in mono mode. So the other earbud doesn't even have to go on the case for mono mode to start working automatically. Now with latency, with videos, there's no issues at all. When it comes to gaming, in my quick test on my iPhone, I actually noticed a very minimal amount of latency, which is quite good considering these don't have a gaming mode or a low latency mode. But here are the detailed results I got in my latency test on both iOS and Android. And to quickly explain, if you're around 200 milliseconds, that's as low as it gets. As long as you're below 400 milliseconds, that's gonna be okay for more casual games. If you're into shooters and that kind of stuff, you wanna get around the 200 millisecond range. But now let's run through the indoor and outdoor microphone tests.
All right, so here is a microphone test with the Sennheiser Momentum 3 True Wireless Earbuds, and I'm in a nice quiet room here at the moment. All right, so here is a microphone test with the Sennheiser Momentum 2 True Wireless Earbuds in a nice quiet room here at the moment. Now I've got some crowd simulation noise playing off the bookshelf speakers right behind me to mimic what it will be like to be on a phone call in a noisy environment. And now I've got some simulation crowd noise being played off the bookshelf speakers right behind me to mimic what it will be like to be on a phone call in a noisy environment. All right, so here we are in the outside world with the Sennheiser Momentum 3 True Wireless Earbuds on a nice busy motorway here right now with cars going 100 kilometers an hour. So hopefully you can hear my voice well and the noise is getting blocked out. All right, so here we are in the outside world with the Sennheiser Momentum 2 True Wireless Earbuds on a nice busy motorway here right now. It's incredibly noisy, so if you can hear my voice well and not the cars, then you're good.
All right, before we talk about noise cancelling, a quick little drop on my Instagram here. If you want to stay updated with behind the scenes action of me, my audio ventures, link is down below. Onto noise cancelling. And how I test my noise cancelling to keep it even across the board, I just chuck on simulation, plane, train, crowd noise, nice and loud off my soundbar. So I have a subwoofer on that, so I get some nice high end and some nice low end. And the Momentum 3 are coming in. They're in the number 3 spot there, just behind the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. And as you can see, a massive improvement over the Momentum 2s. They're very low on the list there, but keep in mind, they're over 2 years old and technology moves very fast. But great noise cancelling, and they almost beat out the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. They were pretty much on par when it came to the crowd noise. With the plain noise test, that's where the Quiet Comfort earbuds just won. And that could be because of a small glitch, because on the Momentum 3, because they use adaptive noise cancelling, it'll adjust dependent on the noise around. So in the plain noise test, how it would kind of work, I chuck the earbuds in, and after about 3 seconds, the noise starts to get cancelled out. And then another 3 seconds, it would kind of let a little bit more noise back in. And another small issue I noticed was in the real world with noise cancelling on, sometimes one earbud would have slightly stronger noise cancelling than the other. Then it would take like 10 seconds to kick back in and kind of go to an even amount of noise cancelling. Again, I don't know if it's a glitch or not, but hopefully that's something that can be fixed via firmware. So that is a small issue. I didn't find it too annoying, honestly, but the issues do continue when we start to talk about the wind noise reduction mode. So how it works on the Momentum 3 here is you have to manually turn it on, but the issue is you lose about 50% of your noise cancelling performance when you have it on. But when you do have it on, it completely blocks out wind noise coming in through the microphones. With wind noise reduction off, it's actually quite easy for noise to get in through the microphones. Even when just walking fast outside on a not very windy day, I noticed the microphones picked up a small amount of that wind noise. So if you're gonna be running, then there's no hope with noise cancelling on. Heaps of wind noise will come in. But I was hoping to see an automatic wind noise reduction mode, which you'll see on pairs like the Sony WF-XM4s, Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro. How those buds work is the wind noise reduction will automatically kick in when the microphones detect wind. So your noise cancelling performance will be as strong as possible at all times, unless there's wind coming in through the microphone. So not terrible, but I'm hoping for another little firmware update for that as well, potentially. Now there is one more tiny bug, and this was when switching on the app between wind noise reduction mode and noise cancelling on, what would happen was if I turned wind noise reduction on and then just turn adaptive noise cancelling on, it would still think it's in wind noise reduction. So I have to turn noise cancelling off completely and then go back to noise cancelling on. So not a terrible one, but it's a little bit buggy for me. But moving on, we're going to talk about EQ shift now, and that's how your sound quality changes with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off. Normally, when you turn noise cancelling on, the earbuds can sound worse with their sound quality, but for the Momentum 3 here, they actually sound slightly better. Bass is increased by a tiny amount, I'm talking like 5%, and everything kind of sounds a bit fuller and kind of louder. So there we go, that's good. But now let's talk about the transparency mode, a nice improvement over the Momentum 2s. They had a very digital and fake sounding transparency mode, so it's a much more natural response here. You can hear things a lot clearer as well, but it's still not amazing. It still has a bit of white noise to it. You can adjust the strength in the app, and if you bring it down lower, you reduce that white noise, but then you can't hear things as well, and you can turn it up really high, but then the white noise just gets a little bit out of hand. So comparing it to the best of the best, the AirPods Pro, I rate those a 10 out of 10. The Momentum 3s, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. And you've also got the option in the app, so when you turn transparency mode on, it can pause your music, or you can just have your transparency mode on with music still playing. Couple small issues though, wind noise does come in quite easily with transparency mode on. Second issue, if you've got transparency mode on, you take the earbuds out of your ears, the in-ear detection will turn noise cancelling back on, chuck the buds back in your ear, and the noise cancelling will be on again. So each time you take the buds out and put them back in, you got to turn transparency mode back on, which I don't know if that's a bug, but again, a lot of bugs. I don't like it. So with future firmware updates, I'll be sure to probably make a new video, or I'll update the pinned comment down below. All right, now before we talk about sound quality, quickly touching up on volume. Above 80%, you're in hearing loss territory. These are about 2 clicks louder than the Momentum 2s at 100% volume. So a nice improvement there. The Momentum 2s were still 100% loud enough for me at 100% volume, but it's nice to see a little bit of extra volume if you really want to go crazy. Sadly, they still don't get my bedtime certification. They're still just a little bit loud at the lowest volume. But now onto the sound quality itself. And if you follow my channel, you'll know the Momentum 2s are one of my favorite overall sounding earbuds when it comes to a balanced tuning, but still a nice amount of bass, because those buds had a tasteful amount of both mid bass and sub bass that worked great with any genre. The mids were recessed slightly, but vocals and instrumentation still came through nice and clear. And they also had my favorite treble with excellent sparkle and detail in a pretty open soundstage as well. But keep in mind, that was with the high-end sound tuning feature on, which cleaned the sound up. With that feature off, the mids were a little bit too recessed and the treble got a little bit too harsh for my liking. Now, at least at the time of this video, the Momentum 3s don't have the high-end sound tuning feature available, but it will be coming in a future update. Sennheiser said they don't know when though. So I was a little bit worried going into the sound quality testing, but I can thankfully say, even with no high-end sound tuning on, they still sound better than the Momentum 2s with high-end sound tuning on. Does that make sense? So that's how I'm gonna explain the sound here. What I just said before is what the Momentum 3 sound like. They're just slightly better with their mids and upper mid range. It's like a 5-7% improvement. So vocals this time around have a little bit more presence, bit richer, and instrument separation is also slightly better. A very small improvement, but small improvements with sound quality go a long way. But this does make me think, what would the Momentum 3 sound like with high-end sound tuning on, considering the Momentum 2 had a massive upgrade with it on compared to it off. So I'm very curious and I'm eager to see what it sounds like. And a bit of a rant, I don't know why it's not here on release. I mean, this has been 2 years in the making and you're missing the multi-point connection. A little bit glitchy stuff going on with the noise cancelling and no high-end sound tuning. So I don't know, am I being overly picky? Let me know. But let's continue on. Going back to the sound quality, let's talk about the EQ customization here, because you're getting the exact same EQ customization you got on the Momentum 2. So just a simple 3-band EQ. You don't get an incredible amount of freedom with it though. I personally think these buds sound the best with no EQ customization, but I did find the subtle V-shaped tuning here kind of gave you a little bit more bass while retaining some nice detail. There's also a bass boost option here, which you can't really recreate with the EQs. And with bass boost on, it kind of just increases the mid bass, a tiny bit of extra sub bass, but it kind of becomes incredibly overly boomy, which is actually not too bad. It doesn't really work well with the instrumentation. It works better with electronic music, I would say. You've also got a podcast option, which just increases the mids, brings the bass down ever so slightly, and that'll work well with like we're watching videos and podcasts, but it actually brings the tuning to a slightly more flat response, a bit more neutral. So if you don't like too much bass, then that's a good option for you there. Now, a new feature here is Sound Check, which creates a custom EQ based on a couple of quick tests. It's honestly pretty gimmicky. I find just using the EQ just works better. You can just adjust it however you like. And another brand new feature here is sound zones. So this allows you to save EQ presets and ambient control presets dependent on certain locations you visit. So when you enter that location, it'll automatically change those settings. And when you leave, you can change the settings as well. Now, Sony did have this a while ago, even with their XM3s. So it's kind of the same thing there, but it's nice to see here on the Sennheiser app. Now, before we move on to the sound quality comparisons, let's run through the genre rating checklist. Here are all my results. So with EDM, hip hop and R&B, you want good vocals and you want some nice bass. That's exactly what you're getting here. The bass never overpowers, and even with the mids being slightly recessed, vocals still come through nice and clear and sound very natural. Now with metal, my favorite genre, as you can see, the Liberty 3 Pro just reviewed, I said they were my favorite metal bud. They've been dethroned by the Momentum 3s. They just sound better. They're a bit cleaner of a sound. I will compare them in a sec. The Momentum 3s, the new number one. That's going to be the same with rock, and then with all your instrumentation, the nice sparkle and detail in the treble really works well. And also, I didn't mention this before, but the treble response you're getting here, it has great sparkle, but at the same time, even at high volumes, rarely gets too sibilant or harsh, which is very rare to see when that treble is boosted. Now with hardstyle, trap and dubstep, I'm bringing the score down ever so slightly. With no EQ, they still sound great, but I just find these genres kind of work with more over-the-top bass, so you can just chuck that bass boost on like I said, and that would bring that up to about an 8.5 out of 10, because you're still not going to be able to get that really deep subwoofer bass. It's more the mid bass that kind of increases. Side trance I'm also bumping up just because that balanced tuning works really well. Nice clean bass response, nice soundstage and separation, works really well with the psychedelic wackiness that psytrance is. And finally, symphonic metal, just touching up on that. My go-to testing song is The Greatest Show on Earth by Nightwish. If you haven't heard that song, give it a listen, preferably live. And these buds just absolutely kill it with that song. You'll be feeling very emotional. I'm just gonna say that now. But now to explain the sound further, it's comparison time. Let's start with the AirPods Pro. So the AirPods are bringing you a more neutral, mid-focus tuning, which I just don't really like personally. I know a lot of people really love them, but going back and forth, the Momentum 3 sound richer, fuller, and just have more pizzazz that I think works with a wider range of genres. Now compared to the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, they have a similar tuning to the AirPods Pro, but with a bit more boosting in the treble and bass, but still it's an easy win overall for sound quality for the Momentum 3. Now the Galaxy Buds Pro, another clean tuning, just like the Bose Quiet Comfort and AirPods Pro, but I do prefer the sound of the Samsung Galaxy Buds over those two buds. So it's a bit closer there, but still I think the Momentum 3 just sound a bit fuller, a bit richer. Now compared to the Liberty 3 Pro, they have a more bassy sound right out of the box, so detail, separation easily goes to the Momentum 3s. If you do like more over-the-top bass, you might want to go for the Liberty 3 Pro, but even then you can kind of EQ the Momentum 3s to start to catch up to the bass response of the Liberty 3. So all around, Momentum 3 gets the win there as well. Now, final comparison, and the closest one here is the Sony WF-1000 XM4s. Now the benefit of the XM4s is the boosted mids and upper mids, so you get more forward vocals and better instrument separation. The Momentum 3 has a brighter sound overall, so the treble is nicer, has some extra sparkle, but even though the mids are recessed on the Momentum 3s, I still like the quality of the vocals, and any vocals that are just kind of brighter sound a bit nicer, and vocals can come across a bit more natural with a bit of extra depth at times. I noticed this when listening to The Unforgiven 2 by Metallica. James Hetfield's vocals just sounded a bit fuller and a bit more natural on the Momentum 3s. But with the XM4s, it was a little bit easier to pick out the clean guitar behind all the other instrumentation and the vocals. So to sum it up here, it's close to the point where some songs sound better on the Momentum 3s, some better on the XM4s. But if I was to only choose one, I'd go for the Momentum 3s because I do like that little bit of extra brightness with the treble and the nice sparkle. But keep in mind with all these comparisons, that's just the sound quality. There's a lot more to it. So I will have detailed videos coming out very soon, which I'll link up here or down below when they're all out. But now let's wrap it up here. Even though there are some minor bugs with the noise canceling, quite a few of those in fact, they're not deal breaking though, and there are some missing features I was hoping to see as well. Just like the Momentum 2, these buds still nail the three most important aspects for me, which is full customizable controls, a nice fit, and great sound. But unlike the Momentum 2, the noise cancelling is also in that list because they're up there with the best of the best when it comes to noise cancelling performance. But when it does come to sound quality, at least from what I've tested, these are my new number one when it comes to a nice amount of bass, but a nice amount of balance as well. So nicely done, Sennheiser. But that wraps it up for today. I'm gonna leave my playlist up here of all my comparison videos, comparing the Momentum 3s to the best earbuds. So be sure to check that out. But in the meantime, stay picky. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.